Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Wednesday the 14th of May and this is an educational video. There's no recommendation whatsoever intended for this. There's no advice. It is purely technical analysis to demonstrate how I read the markets, and you can maybe learn from it. We'll start with the semiconductor ETF, or SOXX as it's also called. After closing the 12th Monday the 12th above resistance at 205.25, it continued yesterday. It was a massive gap it did there. It continued yesterday. RSI above 60 threshold. We are pushing higher, and if we're looking at the weekly chart, we can see this massive jump here, and we are on its way back to previous highs, or at least getting close to it. We paused yesterday at the 200 moving average. If it can continue a little bit higher today, pre-market, not much to talk about, then, well, we could see it up to around 230, 235, maybe a little bit high. RSI indicates at least that's the way we are going. If it suddenly slides back and closes back below 205, then we could try to close this gap and we have a different situation. On the main indices, S&P 500 got rejected here at 5,905 resistance, but RSI is still positive, no divergence, indicating we are likely to see it pushing higher in the coming days and weeks. There will be setbacks, of course. Here pre-market we are about 0.25%, so it seems like we are still pushing higher, and I think we could see it very close to at least the previous all-time highs. On the Nasdaq index, also higher towards minor resistance at 21,455, also very close to its previous all-time high. So basically we are almost back to where we started the year, and which we can see the start of the year around these levels here, back here in January. Also Dow Jones, it got rejected there at 42,518, minor resistance yesterday, but also positive sentiment indicating likely to push higher in the coming weeks, just pausing a little bit, I think. In Asia this morning, Seng is up about 2%, and it could very well take out this little peak here and the 786 retracement at 23,673. Bullish trend, positive sentiment, likely to push higher, and we could see it back to the previous peaks here, just below 25,000. It will be a little bit of a struggle, but our trend is intact unless it starts sliding back below 22,500. In Europe, EUROSTOXX 50 also higher yesterday, above the cloud, above RSI, above 60 threshold, excuse me, indicating to push higher, so very close to its all-time highs also, which is just around 5,600, just below there, and we are in a positive. There will be setbacks, of course, but I'm not worried unless we start moving back below 5,225. Here pre-market more or less unchanged. The DAX had a little bit of a pause here yesterday. I don't know why it's not updating. There we are. It is struggling a little bit for further momentum after new all-time high, and we had this bearish candle here. If it starts taking it out to the downside, then we could see a correction down to, and let me just add that support there. There will be some support here around 22,818, where we have this gap area here, and I can just as well just draw it. We have a bigger gap area there, and that will be at the key levels to look out for. Here pre-market of about 0.3%, so there is still buyers out there for sure. Euro dollar keeps bouncing, it seems, from the 110.55. What was it down? 110.65. Didn't dip all the way down to 10.5. before bouncing. And what I will do, I will add a Fibonacci to this one just to give me some guidelines at least. We could see the bounce continue up to the 38.2 retracement at 12.60, and that was also the 61.8 retracement of the the 38.2 retracement of the downtrend here. So there is a little bit of resistance here, but the key strong resistance will be up here in this region, which is also about the 61.8 retracement of this sell-off there, and at 13.80. If it gets back above that, then uptrend has resumed. Push below Monday's low at 110.65, then I think we could see it dropping down to the 786 retracement at 109.10 area. Cable sterling dollar bounced also after getting to the 38.2 retracement at 131.60. Bouncing there. If it takes out also Monday's lows, then expect a sell-off down to around 113. But for now, we are bouncing a little bit. To resume uptrend above previous peak here at 134.45, then uptrend is to resume. Euro sterling has dropped to the 786 retracement at 84, and the 100 moving average giving some support there. I think we will see a little bit of a bounce, possibly up to 84.5, 84.60, 65. But if it keeps sliding lower, well, then there's not really much support until around 83.15. Dollar yen, that got rejected at the 786 retracement here at 148.80, just below it here at the resistance at 148.65. So in this region, very strong resistance. Support here at 146.50. It could bounce over from there and maybe then have another go at the resistance up here at 148.65.80 level. If it takes out 146.50, then we could see further downside. And then if that occurs, I will add a Fibonacci to this bullish move there and say, okay, then we could probably see it down to 144.75, 143.70. Possibly. Euro yen got up to the 165. We talked about it for the past couple of weeks. It was likely to push up there. I think it will push higher towards 166.55 even. This peak up here. We have positive sentiment on the RSI. All moving averages are now pointing up. And we have a gold cross there with the 55 taking out and breaking above the 100 and 200 moving average. They are all rising. So there is potential higher to 165.50. The Aussie yen is up here at the stronger resistance, and we can move this trend line to there. Very close to 95.75 resistance. Positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels. Also where we can see the 55 moving average starts to turn around, and in a couple of days the 21 coming up here is likely to break above the rising 55. That will support it further. So I think if you see a close above 95.75, we are looking at 95.5 at least, and possibly all the way up to 99. But that will take a little bit of a time. But there is some resistance here, also resistance with the 200 moving average coming down, giving some resistance. Sterling yen reached the 176.4 projection of this correction here at 196.37, more or less spot on. Actually reached 196.40. Could continue higher because positive sentiment and no divergence on the RSI, indicating likely higher levels towards 197, possibly back to this area up here in the 198 and 99 level. It will not be without some corrections. The moving averages needs to catch up a little bit, but most of them are starting to point to higher levels. Aussie dollar, well, stepping sideways in a quite wide range here, 63.40, which we've been talking about. There's a little bit of support there. We have the 55 coming up, adding to the support, slowly coming up. The 100 also. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence. I think we'll see a push up to 65.50 at least we should see that possibly up to, and let me just add, there's really strong resistance here around 66.80, 67. Dollar Canada, and let me just zoom in. Twice got rejected at a 200 moving average. Could expect a setback lower, and also here, if you're using your charts, you can add the Fibonacci to that and say, okay, maybe we should see it down to the 61.8 retracement at 138.52, possibly down to 786 at 138, just above that level. If it can't get back above 140.27 here, if it needs to get up, if it do that, well, then there's further upside potential, but then to 141, but then we have the 55 giving it a hard time to the uptrend, so it will probably short-lived if it gets up there. Sterling Canada, really still a range bound, so let's give it for now. I've been talking about this for several days and weeks now. Euro Swiss dancing around the 61.8 retracement at just below 94 at 93.90, spiked up to the 200, back down. So it is trying to get up there to 94.15, possibly 94.5, but it's really struggling at the moment. There should be potential, but with all the moving averages here, there is a really strong resistance. Still negative sentiment on the RSI. So 92, 98 was the low. If that's being taken out to the downside, then expect to push down to 92.20. But I think we will see another go to push up to these levels here between 94.15 and 94.5. Dollar Swiss setback after reaching only 50%. I did expect it all the way up to 61.8 at 85.40.45, but it didn't play out. At least not yet. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, which got rejected at 60 threshold, so it didn't go into positive sentiment. And if it starts sliding back below 83.35, then maybe the downtrend could resume. So keep an eye on those levels there, at least if we have a new situation. The dollar index, that got rejected at the 61.8 retracement at 101.80, sliding back. If it's closing, well, it closed the gap on the way up. Will it also then more or less cancel it, getting back below 100 spot 23? Then downtrend could resume, or we could also be stuck range bound here for some time. RSI also here rejected 60 threshold, so that will be key. But if it takes out the spike up there at 101.82, expect a push up to around 103. Gold still under pressure, didn't bounce really. 3,202 was the low. 3,200 is a more psychological level. We have support here at 3,167, and the rising trend line, and especially the 55 moving average, you can see they are more or less aligned all the way up here. So we could still see a push down to maybe spike down here. If we close below 3,200, well, then we have established a bearish trend. So that will be key to what's here the next few days. Silver not really doing much, just dancing still in this range here between 31.65 and 33.70. Copper also between 450 and 480, that should be observed. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, indicating to the downside. We are below the 55 moving average, but the 100 coming up there, 200 coming up, giving some support. So expect to be range bound in this area here for quite some time. WTI keeps pushing higher, now above the 786 retracement for a second day in a row, and this time it stayed above, so there's potential up to the resistance and the previous peaks here around 64.87, 65.22. There is some strong resistance there, also with the 55 moving average coming down. And look at this, we still have the RSI in a negative sentiment, didn't close above 60 threshold. It needs to do that for really establishing a bullish and confirming a bullish trend. Brent at the 786 retracement here at 66.48, also failing to close above 60 threshold for now, and it needs to get above 68, 65 to confirm a bullish trend. If it does that, actually, then we have a double bottom, and that could be of interest, and with a potential higher. I'll remove this one there. The European TTF gas still struggling to get above the 35.85 resistance here. Tried several times, then being knocked down every time. So if it starts sliding back, and I actually think that if we just add a trend line there, if it takes out 34 to the downside, then I think downside will resume, and with lower levels below the previous lows here towards 30. And finally, US nat gas Henry Hub here. Yeah, it got knocked down by the 55 several times. Now we are back below the 100 moving average and could slide lower back to the 3.25 level here. If it takes out the 384 spike up there, well, then there's a potential to the +4 region. Moving on to yields, and the US 10-year Treasury yield dancing around the 786 retracement here at 445, 446. We are in a bullish trend, positive sentiment, likely to test at least the 455 resistance there, but could push all the way up to the 465. So bullish trend there, and it will only be demolished if maybe put back in a little bit on the back burner or in neutral if we get back to 440, but you will see 55 moving average coming up to 21 also, so there is some support there for higher yields. The 2-year was above 4% and now sliding back a little bit. Let's remove this one, but a strong bounce in these, and there is potential up to 415 if RSI closes above 60 threshold. Moving on to the European yields, we have the Euro 10-year pushing towards 271. This peak there, I think it will be rejected if it gets up there, and then I will set back a little bit. But if it closes above, well, then there's potential up to around 280. And the UK 10, well, currently above the 61.8 retracement, and I think there's potential up to the 786 at 472. And then I think we will see a bit of a correction, maybe already now, but there is still potential up there. Bitcoin range bound between 100,000 and a little bit. As we can see here, it's the 38.2 retracement, a little bit of spike down there at 100,700, and the spike up there at 105,788. That's the range that it needs to take out for direction. I still believe it will be to the upside, but it could be to the downside. We got a correction just below 100,000 to 98,000 level, but we are in a bullish trend, and there is potential higher. Ethereum also pausing a little bit here, still potential up to just around 2,200, possibly up to 3,000 again. But if it slides back and takes out 2,400, well, then we could see a setback to around 2,100. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day, and talk to you again later.